seated in what many may consider as rubbish. But for today's entrepreneur, he's been able to transform this into the black gold dust. Recycling was introduced because of the fact that societies produce too much packaging and food waste. Recycling also offers a solution to rubbish, which offers a conducive environment for disease in the garbage dumps. But while the idea of waste management was introduced a couple of years ago, many people still don't try to sort their litter. Worse still, they litter on the streets, in the forest or in the parks and assume that recycling is the responsibility of large companies and environmentalists. But Andrew Macharia found out in 1992 that not only does the responsibility of garbage collection lie on every citizen, but it also is profitable. After retirement, he trained to become an organic farmer and soon started recycling waste in his farm for manure. But soon he could not keep up with the market.
I could not get enough material to make compost for my farm and selling. So I decided to come back to Nairobi, put a hand in waste because there was a lot of waste that I had left behind in Nairobi. Heaps and heaps of garbage were everywhere. So I decided to come back and approach the Nairobi City Council, see whether they could allow me to start making compost, as I had already got a market at home.
So in 1996, he formed a recycle center SACCO with 50 members with whom he decided to diversify and collect plastics in Jericho, where the city council allocated him land. But the more money they made, the more problems they faced and were forced to shut down.
When you start something like that, there are people who think that maybe you have got a bigger plot than they expected you to have. So they started complaining that when we are turning up our compost, there's a lot of bad smell, and they even got sick. They even went accusing us that we had a lot of rats, and that the rats were coming from the recycling plant to their houses.
He was not fazed, and 1 year later he reopened the doors of the SACCO, this time with the support of the Ministry of Environment. Members collect waste in Nairobi, and when they get to the factory, they are separated. Food waste is used to feed hybrid German goats, and every goat produces 6 liters of milk a day. The rest of the food waste is used to make manure, which in 6 weeks is sold to farmers. However, the SACCO makes the most from plastics, which are broken down to pellets and sold to local manufacturers.
Like farmers, those who are doing a lot of flower farming, they have a lot of waste in plastics. So they sell the plastics to us. Like you see, these pipes are coming from irrigation in the farms. So after they use the pipes and their waste, they sell them to us. We cut them into small pieces, we crush them, and we sell them back to the factory where they make another pipe.
The biggest challenge that the SACCO faces is the cost of electricity.
If we buy a material worth about 150,000, and after grading, we may end up by paying about 70,000 only in electricity carrying. So it's almost half the price of the money we make goes to electricity.
However, he says the upside of the business is that all they use is waste, which makes the cost of raw material cheap and sometimes free.
We have tried all our best since we started to tell people garbage is money.
The SACCO has employed 5 permanent staff workers with another 40 casual workers during peak periods.
The future is to try to get as many members as possible so that we can work together with many members, and it's also easy to approach a donor when you are more than we are. So we think if we are more than we are, we can get a donor, and we can get even some modern machines that can help us to prosper in our project.
Indeed, the story of black gold dust that has transformed the lives of many Kenyans. He's made us understand the saying that says, one man's rubbish might be another man's gold.
On tonight's market report, inflation is at 9.19% as at the end of March. The rates on both the 91-day and 182-day Treasury bills have increased, and we're still waiting for the latest economic growth figures for the year 2010 and first quarter of 2011. The 91-day Treasury bill is attracting interest at 3.52% following last week's auction, and the 182-day bill followed the upward trend, moving from 3.44% to 3.58% at the last auction, and the average bank lending deposit and savings rates are as shown. 16 stocks are trading with dividends. Yields range from 0.4% at Cooperative Bank to 7.4% at BOC Kenya. Other stocks currently trading with dividends include KCB, Pan Africa Insurance Holdings, CFC, Stanbic Holdings, Diamond Trust Bank, Scan Group, Athi River Mining, Jubilee Holdings, Housing Finance, Kakuzi, TPS, Eastern Africa, Total Kenya, Standard Group, Kenya Re, and Crown Berger. On your question answered tonight, a gentleman who didn't indicate his name says he's just turned 50 years old and has been working on pensionable terms at a public university for 25 years. He says he's about to get another job. He therefore asks what would be the best way to invest his benefits if he retires now, and would he qualify for retirement? We put the question to Ben Mandy, a financial advisor.
Thank you, Michael. At 50, that would be considered an early retirement, and you'd be entitled to a third of your pensionable funds, which would be subject to taxation at the pay-as-you-earn levels, and the rest of the 2/3 of your pension would then be invested in an annuity, which would then pay you at periodic intervals over your lifetime. You could make a decision to invest in business. However, as you do that, you need to bear in mind that 80% of businesses that are begun collapse within the first 5 years for various reasons. And therefore, it is a high-risk venture, and your choice of business would have to be carefully thought through in order to ensure that, your choice of business is in an area that you have strength in, or is in an area where you could find a partner who could work with you in order to ensure that your risks are minimized. Another choice that you could think about is collective investment schemes in the form of either unit trusts or investment clubs, where you, along with other individuals, could invest money either in real estate, where you could buy property that you could either develop or you could speculate on and hope that the increase in value over time. However, that again is high risk, and therefore the choice of doing it alongside other people helps minimize your risk exposure in that particular regard. The other choice of collective investment would be where you would join a unit trust.
Do you have any finance or commerce related question you'd like an expert to respond to on air? Send it to KTN Business Weekly at standardmedia.co.ke, or a text message to 8040 beginning with the words Business Weekly. Well, thank you very much for watching this edition of the program from the entire KTN Business Weekly. Thank you for watching, and let's do it again next week on another edition of KTN Business Weekly. I'm Michael Oyer. Good night.